Welcome to Snacks Weekly on Data Science. This podcast is all about making data science and machine learning knowledge accessible and less intimidating. Today, we are going to talk about one applications of large language model. This episode is based on a tech blog titled From Chaos to Clarity: Building Taxonomies from Unstructured Text Using Large Language Models, published by the Microsoft Data Science team. Throughout this episode, we will explore this topic from both the business and technology angles. Now, let's dive in. On the business side, let's take a look at the problem to be solved. Most companies accumulate large volumes of textual data over time. This can include customer feedback, internal notes, product descriptions, etc. The problem is that this data is usually not organized in any meaningful way. So, when team wants to analyze it, they quickly hit a wall. The challenge is that there are usually no labels or no predefined structure. There is just raw text with inconsistent wording, overlapping meanings, and constantly changing language. To solve this problem, traditional methods like TF-IDF clustering or topic modeling can help a bit, but they struggle when language gets messy and when semantically similar phrases are written in very different ways. Weak supervision approaches can also help, but they still require a lot of upfront design and human effort. At scale, this becomes a real operational challenge. You might have tons of thousands of even millions of documents, and manually organizing them is simply not realistic. At the same time, if the structure is too noisy or unstable, it becomes useless for analysis. So the core challenge here is that how do you take a raw, unlabeled text and turn it into a clean, meaningful structure that people can actually use? Now that we've understood the business context, let's dive into the technical side to see what is the suggested solution to tackling this challenge. The team described two core approaches, bottom-up and top-down. There are two different ways to build taxonomy systems, and each fits a different operating model. Let's start with the bottom-up approach. This approach lets patterns emerge from the data itself. The intuition here is simple. Instead of deciding categories up front, we will let the data reveal patterns naturally. To make the bottom-up approach, there are several steps. Step 1 is semantic compression. They first ask an LLM to generate a short descriptor of the document's main intent. For example, a messy support note might become something like payment failure after card update. The second step here is embedding generation. Those descriptors are now converted into vectors using an embedding model. Similar meanings land near each other in vector space. The step 3 here is clustering. Now, standard unsupervised methods like k-means can group similar items together. Noticing that the design choice here, the LLM is not doing anything. It handles language understanding, while the cheaper classical machine learning handles the grouping. The step 4 here is clustering interpretation. Clusters by themselves are not useful by business users. For example, cluster 17 means nothing. So the team samples examples from each cluster and asks an LLM to summarize the common theme into a human-readable label. Now, this cluster 17 becomes something like billing disputes or login recovery issues. Then it goes to step 5, which is meta-categorization. Once you have many cluster labels, the LLM groups them again into higher-level parent categories, creating a hierarchy. So, refund request, duplicated charges, and payment declined may all roll up into payments. This is how the bottom-up system looks like. Compress meaning, embedding, cluster, label, and then build a hierarchy. This is efficient and strong for discoveries when you do not already know the category space. After we talked about the bottom-up approach, let's take a look at the second approach, which is top-down. This approach flips the logic and starts with the structure first. Instead of discovering categories from the data, you start by asking the LLM to propose a set of high-level categories. The way to get it to work is that you sample a few documents and ask the LLM to generate categories that are mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, which is MISI. In plain English, the categories should cover the space without too much overlap. Then, every document gets classified into one of these categories. After that, each category is split again into subcategories using only the documents inside that branch. Then the documents are reclassified locally. This process can repeat recursively. What's the benefits of choosing the top-down approach? Well, because many businesses care about the governance and control. If leadership already wants categories like billing, security, account access, or product bugs, then discovery alone is not enough, and there needs to be a hierarchical way to align with operations. So now top-down gives a clear structure. After looking at both the bottom-up and top-down approach, the team shares that there is a strength for each of the methodology. The bottom-up is stronger for exploration approaches, while top-down is stronger for controlled operational taxonomy. For any business want to leverage LLM for taxonomy generations, this is not about finding one best model, but more about choose the right workflow for the decision environment. Now that we've discussed both the business problem and technical solution, let's wrap it up. In this episode, we looked at how companies deal with large volumes of unstructured text and why traditional clustering methods often fall in short. We discussed two LLM-based approaches shared by the team from Microsoft. One bottom-up pipeline that builds structures from data using embeddings and clusterings, and one top-down pipeline that starts with the LLM-generated categories and refine them recursively into a hierarchy. Both approaches aim for the same goal, turning messy text data into meaningful, usable structure, and they take a very different path to get there. If you like the content of this episode, please subscribe to the channel, give me a 5-star review, and leave a comment. Your feedback is very appreciated, and I'll see you next week.